Thanks for joining us today. And we're going to go over things that you're going to get to the root of why is this happening to me. So if you have feelings of inferiority or doubt, all those big common things that people have, we're going to get to the root of that. You came out with your fourth academic article, and it was looking at Tony Robbins' 6 human needs and then taking it a step further.
Absolutely, because these are legit, right? Like these are foundational. It's so good to understand and have a picture of your fundamental human needs. And we have discovered, or I have created a system that allows us to get to the why I'm not there and feeling successful.
Yeah, and this is so common. I know with the clients that you work with, and then if we go beyond that, just look at people in general, there is such a pattern where they get stuck, they have fear, self-doubt, anxiety, whatever it might be, but that gets them, and then they don't get where they really want to go.
Well, I was in this conversation. I was in a Q&A with a leading, so much respect for this individual, leading leadership teacher, coach, life coach. And we were in a Q&A. And every person, part of their question had to do with being stuck. Yeah. And how to get through it. Now, their situation would have had their specific twist on it, like their life. What are they looking at? But everybody was feeling stuck. What do I do when I am stuck? When I don't see where to go? And the underlying current here is that there's guilt in that. There's shame in that. I feel defeated, yet I know I'm not supposed to feel defeated. And that's really part of what we are wanting to unpack with you. It's like there's individuals that have that really have fear gripping them. And you're not supposed to have fear. I have anxiety, and it's like I think almost everybody has had moments of incredible fear, anxiousness, guilt, shame, but we're not supposed to have those, in quotes, supposed to. So let's look at this.
All right, and before we look at it, I really want people to understand why this is so important. Because when you have worked with people, the one thing that I've noticed and that clients have told you afterwards, they said, hey, I work with a therapist for 5 years, or I did this, or whatever it might be. And we're not trying to trash anyone. It's just, they've done other things, right? Mm-hmm. They've tried other things. And then you realize that the diagnosis, what you diagnose, what you figure out is the problem or the issue or what to work on, that's so critical.
Well, if you don't get the proper diagnosis, right? If you are told that the problem is that, somebody in your health, if you're told that the problem is coming from allergies, but it's not. But once it's diagnosed and you go down that trail, then all the medicine, all the treatments, then are focusing on what this is the problem. This was the stated problem. But if it isn't, you get led down this path of, you could spend years trying to figure out why your digestion isn't working right, or, these things like that, why there's so much inflammation in your head. And if it's not appropriately diagnosed, if it doesn't really match what's going on, then all the treatments aren't going to match either. And it just takes you down this wild goose chase. It's expensive. It's exhausting. Frustrating. You're like, why can't we get to the bottom of this? Well, it's because we don't have the proper diagnosis.
And once you get that label, then that kind of sticks with you too. Sure. I'm a whatever the diagnosis is. And then you kind of feel that. You talk to other people about that. And we looked at a medical thing, but it could also be a lot of other, like people come to you for, let's say, lack of confidence, or they just unsure themselves, right?
Yeah.
And a typical thing is just grind it out, get up there, do it. Just
Well, it's an improper diagnosis. You're saying I'm needing to. I'm lacking self-confidence. And that's the diagnosis, right? So what's the treatment? Well, what you just said, you grind it out. Because we're saying you're lacking confidence, and we're focusing right there. And you're just circling around that one thought, that one idea. You're lacking confidence. It'll take you down a road of a lot of work. And if you're working with somebody else, if you're working with a life coach and a personal trainer or whatever that would fit that, it takes time, it takes a lot of money, and it can be really discouraging if what we're addressing isn't really what is at the root of that challenge.
Right, because maybe if you have lack of confidence, maybe it's a deep root of feeling unworthy or trauma, or there could be something else.
Well, that's the thing.
And it's individualized.
It's very individualized. And I worked with an acupuncturist years ago. A great, incredible acupuncturist, doctor of Chinese medicine. And one of the things that set this person apart was that when you go in and she'll do the intake form and do the steps that you do, right? And so she'll go, okay, this is what's going on. So it's one thing, and it's so important to have a proper identifying what's really going on, right? The proper diagnosis, what's really going on. Then it's the sequence in the steps to walking yourself to, if it's physical, curing, solving, healing that challenge. If it's, like you said, lack of confidence, then it's the sequence of knowing what steps to take in the order that fits you as an individual, what steps to take that get you to confidence. So that's what I really respected about, one, you need the proper diagnosis. Two, you need to know what steps to take for you that get you to the desired goal.
Well, and with that, I'll just say is like, when someone is telling you this is the way, there is one way, this is the way. Usually when I step back and look back at it, that worked for them. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they have 100% belief in that, and they know that works. But I know, like, if I do something and it works for 30% of people or half of them, it's not working for everybody. And so sometimes I think we have to really embrace the fact that we are unique, we are different, and our recipe is going to be a little bit different, a little mix of this, a little that, maybe our 1 through 5 is the same, but the order we do them is different, or the intensity, or,
Absolutely. And when I'm working with individuals, one of the things I see is, so we have the challenge. I don't feel like I'm enough. I lack self-confidence. It could be I'm struggling with getting started and finishing something. That I see that a lot. And the thing that is just so heavy is the guilt around that. It's like, okay, you struggle to start something, and you struggle to finish something. And people will say, well, you're just impulsive. You're a lot of my ADHD clients. You're impulsive. If you would just finish something, there's a lot of shaming around that characteristic. These people often have, one of their human needs is variety. And it's like, yes, variety is fantastic. But the pain is the shame. It's like, why can't, and they'll say to me, why can't I finish something? And they'll have this one beautiful soul. She had 10 quotes started and none of them finished. Like, and there was just multiple things like that in her space where she was just so impulsive, and it was fun and it was creative, and then it wasn't. And so people in the space are like, wow, that's expensive, and you're wasting time, and, a lot of shaming. And she herself felt a lot of shame, and it's real. And so really the shifting point because we can have curiosity. That gift has curiosity. It's a gift. It's a gift in perception. It's a gift of play and curiosity. But if we stay focused on the impulsiveness, we're looking at the wrong thing. That's an improper diagnosis. That's taking a symptom and saying that's what you are. But that's not true. So the guilt shame piece, this is the piece that sabotages our success and growth. When we have, some of us avoid, like, I am given tasks and I know I need to do this. I'm good at this. I have done this and I avoid it. And it's like, so you're labeled, why can't you just get it done? You're waiting to the last minute all the time. I was working with a gal and she would wait to the last half a second and then be under a tremendous amount of pressure. And, and the feeling again was she was shamed. It's like, why are you doing that to yourself? Just make a schedule, just make a plan, just, all the helpful
Typical
words. But she was diagnosed with avoidance. There is something else going on there. That is an improper diagnosis. It's not avoidance. There's a whole other element and sequence of pieces that are there. So focusing on the feeling and focusing on the avoidance, focusing on the symptom brings about even more shame. And the shame sabotages us. Guilt sabotages us. The fear sabotages us. And it's like, I'm afraid to move forward. I'm afraid. I'm getting just gripped with this fear thing. That's real. And all of this burns all the joy out of our lives. And we think, we all want to have joy. We all want to have inner peace. We all want to have that confidence of stepping boldly out in who we are. That's what we all want.
Yeah, and you work with a lot of different people. You work with business people. And one thing, I was just sitting here as you were talking about this, I was thinking about, yes, the diagnosis is definitely important. And the steps that you're doing is also. But then there's another thing where, like, you've worked with several business people, and just think about this. Could you be a business person and be misaligned in your business? Let me just give you a scenario here. We've talked about variety, right? There are some people that are really good at startups. Mm-hmm. They can get funding, they can get the excitement, they can get it up and running, but 6 months and 9 months into it, they're bored. Okay? Now, and then they go start up another one, right? Hand that off to someone else, okay? So they're really good at that initial stage, right? Okay? But if they were to stay with the same company for like 30 years, that wouldn't, now these are kind of outliers in some ways, right? But then you have another group that they're really good at maintaining a structure. So something that's been up and running, it's established, they're good at maintaining, right? And then you can have another third group, and these are all entrepreneur business people, right? That they're good at seeing problems, going in, fixing it, right? So it's also like when you're aligned with what this is.
Well, that's the key. And that's the root of it. Because in energy intelligence method, there's a sequential step. There's a sequential steps that guide people to that alignment. It's not about focusing. It's not about saying, okay, this is who I am and this is what I'm overcoming, because that gets us stuck there. We get stuck when I'm focused on, oh my gosh, I'm avoiding things I really need to get done. And the more we say I'm avoiding it and I need to get over it, the more we're trapping ourselves in that space. But through the method, we can sequentially get to the root and find what's you. So that joy, peace, and that job or that entrepreneur vision, whatever it is it's aligned with you. Alignment is so important. And it's that clarity. It's like, who are you really? Not in these labels. I am impulsive. I'm unworthy. I avoid, I control, those without those labels. Who are you at your most authentic you? And that space is where I can serve without feeling empty. You're serving people from the overflow. So let's say you are one of your basic human needs is a contributor and is contribution. And it's like, if you are that, but there's guilt, shame, and those elements there, then you're giving from an empty hole. But if you're giving from your alignment, you're aligned with yourself, then it's from above and beyond. Yeah, it's the overflow. If I am a significance, if one of my needs is significant, then I may feel unworthy if I'm in a guilt shame space. I'm unworthy of this. But if I'm in alignment with myself, I have so much inner value that when I stand in front and deliver a lecture and things, it's coming from the abundance of me. So I'm feeling that joy. I'm feeling satisfied. I feel inner peace. It's tangible. I've walked with so many people that came and said, I am stuck. I feel so frustrated. Why can't I get past this? To it's overflowing from who they are, the joy, the satisfaction, the fire in your belly, if you will. I always call it that fire in your belly when you're in alignment, right? It's like that fire in your belly. I am giving and it's easy. I am in alignment with who I am.
With the alignment there, one thing I've noticed is that people will come to you, they'll become a client, and you'll always ask them what's your goal, what you're trying to do. And one thing that's so interesting is often what they thought they wanted isn't what they end up really wanting.
True.
And you talked a lot about distortions and how you can think you want something, but maybe that's from trauma or that's from some other reason. You got some need or something that's kind of masking things or creating a persona. So could you talk a little bit about distortions and how important that is in this whole part of this?
Distortion is an improper diagnosis. It is a self-diagnosis. And it's really driven from these misperceived perceptions of self. And we all experience life. I mean, we have life happening to us, everybody, from the time we're born till now. And when we're in that early childhood development stage, we are malleable. Our identity is literally being formed at that time. So these perceptions, how we look through that lens is key, because we carry that forward with us, isn't it? And we think, well, then that's where I should really heal, or that's where I should change. Not really. That's, if I stay in that space and try to heal in that space, it means I'm thinking in that space. And that just continues a loop, an unhealthy, if you will, a loop that's not going to get you where you're going. What it's going to do is it's going to give you the feeling of stuck.
Because you're reinforcing that.
You reinforce it.
You're reinforcing that, and you're actually giving it energy.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So through the method, we can sequentially see. I mean, it's just steps. It's just like when you get ready for bed, you have a set of steps that you do. Most of us do, right? Yeah. And that's what gets us from the daytime to ready for nighttime. Whatever that is for you. You brush your teeth, you take your makeup off if you're, you do whatever. And so yeah, we can get down to, we can take ourselves through a method that helps us not focus on what we think needs to change, but alignment is key. We all have who we really are. Before the different events happen to us, we have who we really are, and it's still there. It hasn't changed. Matter of fact, so many cool things you've learned, how you've got tenacity. You've learned so much. Even if at this moment you're in the space of stuck, hang in there, because your body's showing you, your guidance is showing you that you're ready to shift. Stuck is a sign from guidance you're ready to shift. And if we take it on like that, if we take it and look at it like that, then come working with me or somebody like me that can say, okay, let's take this journey together, because it isn't in what you think it is. It isn't in, that's all kind of like, that's all perception. All perception, a lot of it is formed during this early childhood time. And is that really authentically you? No. There's pieces of it there, and there's gold there. So we need that balance. We don't need to think, oh, I need to heal and get rid of all this stuff or whatever. You are shifting, and it's about perspective and getting that second set of eyes that go, hey, you're used to looking at that, and I'm a brand new set of eyes, and I know how to do this. Okay. And so we really don't want to focus on what you think we should focus on. You're stuck. Yep. I honor that. We believe it. And you feel like you're just always, you got the label, I avoid, I am impulsive. Okay, I totally hear you. And that's not where the answer is. So let's go. Let's not solve it there. But thank goodness that you felt the feeling of stuck, because that is your beautiful guidance saying, okay, you're ready to shift from this paradigm. You're ready to shift from what this is and what you've believed into something that's truly you, and develop that and develop there. And that just takes you down a whole new road. That's where, when you were talking about the entrepreneur that's maybe been labeled impulsive before, it's actually just a rock star at starting and sell, starting and move on. There's such a superpower, and it's in the truest sense a gift in that ability. And that's what alignment looks like. It's like you feel like you have a superpower. You feel like this, you are bringing value to people. It's rich. And I was in that class they were talking about, where I was talking about, that everybody was, the questions they had all had this feeling of, they were voicing, I am stuck. The other part of this is like, become the 1%. I'm like, become the 1%. We all are 1%. There is nobody like you or me or you. We are all the 1%. And the thing that gets us other thing that gets us stuck is looking out there and saying, that's what success is. That's what the 1% is. And it's like, wow, that is such a box. That is, talk about identity. This is what's good. This is what is 1%, and this isn't. That will sabotage us quicker than anything. How do you develop and become the 1%? Is to align with you. You want to bring overflow, service from the heart. You want to naturally expand, and that could be business, that could be so many things. You, in your gift set, in your it could just go so many places. Compassion, your openness, your authentic inner, you have value. You have this curiosity. You can play, you can create. You're grounded. You have this feeling of, I trust myself. I trust my intuition. I can build, and it can be build anything. It can be build a family. It can be build a business. It could be start being a farmer and, do this beautiful gardening vision. What's your vision? What's your passion? And if it's aligned with you, you will be the 1%. You will be.
We'll get right back to the discussion with Janell. But if you are feeling the calling on this at all, that, hey, this is something I want to check out, I want to explore and find out more about, then email Janell at janell@janellrae.com, or go to her website at janellrae.com. And you can find out about her 6-week courses, her 6-month course, or her one-on-one coaching. Okay, let's get back to the interview. So what you're really saying is we need to get to the root, and we need to get to the why behind the why, or the reason behind the reason. And once you do that, then it's kind of magical.
True. Yes. When we get to the why, so you come in, and so I'll share a story. This beautiful soul felt totally just trapped in fear. There was no, like, to use her voice, to speak out, to, she had so much to say and so much to give, yet she was so afraid of who she was. She was looked down at. She was embarrassed. She was shamed. Like, don't embarrass us, mom, type things. But also in her culture that she lived in, they looked at her as like, oh my gosh, you are over the top. You're loud. You're, too much. You're too much. So she's just always trying to bottle herself up. It's like, bottle it up, and get the why behind the why behind the why. It's actually her superpower. And the why behind the why behind the why is now what she experiences is freedom of voice. And she just sees this, what was labeled as too much, and she had all this guilt and shame around it, has shifted to, I am that much. I am that much. Like, I can give that much. Like, she is service orientated. She believes in people and she gives that much. And it's so easy for her. So it was really in going through those steps together that was allowed to happen. That shift was allowed to be there.
And I'm just so excited, and I wish you could experience this. That's really my wish for you, because the energy intelligence method is something that once you experience it, and you just did an event recently where people had a great experience. Like, there was lots of grounding, lots of breakthroughs, lots of aha moments. And I can't stress enough that it's something that I could explain what an orange tastes like and all these kinds of things, but until you've actually tasted it, it's hard for me to describe it, right? Or a sunset, if you've never seen that. So this is something I really wish for you. And Janell, what's your email if people want to get a hold of you?
Janell at janellrae.com.
And so I really recommend that you contact Janell, see like how she can help you. What we've looked at stuff where you're stuck. We've looked at anxiety, looked at the Tony Robbins 6 needs and how there's something behind that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if this is something that is stirring in you, if you're like, okay, enough of this, enough of sitting on the sideline, enough of stirring in I'm trying to solve this, right? Just reach out to Janell, and you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
I look forward to meeting you.